Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Peroni with the Pennsylvania Recreation Vehicle and Camping Association. And today I'm talking with Sherry Gagliardi and David Hutchison, who will present two seminars daily at America's largest RV show, September 10th through the 14th in Hershey. Sherry and Hutch are full-time RVers who have been on the road since 2012, and they live in a 1957 vintage travel trailer that they have lovingly restored. They're educators, writers, and ambassadors for the RV lifestyle. Welcome, Shari and Hutch.
So that's great to see you. Looking forward to the show in a couple of weeks.
Yes, we are too. And you're presenting two seminars. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in full-time RVing, and about your exciting travel trailer that you're in.
Sure. Well, to be honest, we only planned on doing full-time RVing for maybe 1 or 2 years. And then we were going to go back to some real life something, right? And that was 2012. But we fell in love with this lifestyle after about 6 months on the road, and we couldn't imagine going back. And 13 years later, almost 13 years later, we're days away from that, here we are. Here we are, absolutely loving this lifestyle and figuring out how to make it all work.
But let me take you back to the fall of 2010. So we're two, higher education professionals. We have a house. We have, cars in the driveway. We have the whole like
Everything.
lifestyle. But it was burning us out pretty quickly, and we kind of realized something needed to give.
For sure. And I had that day at work, if you know what I mean, that day that everybody has at some point. And life did need to change, and it needed to change significantly. Yeah,
And
for
we
sure.
talked about doing, something different, but we hadn't really settled on a direction. We were just kind of like, what do you want to do? And we were kind of putting it off. Well,
But we'd saved.
right.
We'd saved some
And
money.
we had
Yeah.
been international travelers. We loved to travel, but we didn't really hadn't seen much of our own country. And we had not been to many national parks, only a handful. And so, one night in fall of 2010, I come home and Sherry's put a bid on a camper, our vintage camper,
It's true.
and we won the bid. And I realized, wow, she's kind of saying, this is what we're doing. I'm leaving. You're invited.
I
Um,
didn't actually say those words, to be fair, but that's how he took it. And probably that is how I meant it. So,
Absolutely.
anyway, that led to about 18 months of downsizing, downsizing our home, renovating our camper because it was a 1957 that we bought for next to nothing. We had to wrap up our careers that we'd had for 13 years. But we finally hit the road on our 12th wedding anniversary, and we are about ready to celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary here in a few days. And so that means we've been living in this tiny little vintage camper for more than half of our marriage, which we still can't believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought I
That's
would have lasted
amazing.
long, but
Yeah, yeah, it is when we look at it from 30,000 feet and look down and say, because it's normal for us, but like when we're talking to folks and they say, "Oh my gosh, that's not possible." We say, "Yeah, you're right. That is a little bit crazy, but somehow it all works and we do still love it." So,
And how large is it?
it's 72 square feet, and so that's about 6 by 15-ish. Yeah.
right. It's
So
15 foot,
from tongue to tush, yeah.
yeah,
So
including
12
the
feet on the
tongue. So
inside.
so
Yeah.
it's about a 12-foot box,
Yeah.
you know.
Rectangle, yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's
But
amazing.
but it has everything we need. People always ask, "Do you want to get something bigger?" And we work these RV shows and we see everything that's out there. It's amazing. But this is what works for us. And that's what our message in the seminars is like, find what works for you. Um, and and really figure out that conversation of what it is that you need, and you'd be surprised that what you need to make you happy um, is far less than you might imagine.
And something I think that most people don't think about when they start RVing is that you're not living inside of your RV all that much. We're outside a lot. We're hiking, we're biking, we're paddling, we're sitting out and enjoying the weather. So the inside is a place to sleep, it's a place to cook when it's, not nice outside and, just to hang out, work and things like that. But in all honesty, a good chunk of our day is outside. So I always say we have the biggest backyard and front yard of anybody we know, but we don't have to mow it or weed it.
great. That's great. So at the show, you're going to present two seminars,
Yes.
and your first one is about RV Solar 101. Can
Mm-hmm.
you tell us
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about how you're using solar with your travel trailer?
Sure. So we've actually been using solar from the very, very beginning. We started in 2012 with a modest system, and that system has grown significantly. Yeah.
Mhm. And
Okay.
we weren't, we were one of the first folks to sort of use solar that we saw, and that's
Yeah.
so much of that has changed. There's so many. We see thousands and thousands of people using solar to power
Yeah.
their off-grid lives.
A lot less gas generators out there. We didn't want to haul around a noisy gas generator or all the gasoline that was necessary to run one.
Hmm.
We wanted to live more sustainably. We wanted to live, less expensively. And that's why we did it from the beginning. But yeah, it has grown exponentially in the last 12 to 13 years for
Hmm.
sure. Mhm.
Definitely. And I suspect that many people are maybe apprehensive because they don't have the knowledge to get into solar power.
Hmm.
What do you, what can they expect to learn by attending your seminar?
Sure. I think you're absolutely right. It can be an intimidating process, especially if you're new to RVing. So we see at these, at RV shows, we see people coming, they've maybe never been campers before. They maybe have never, they're buying the whole package. So that can be a little overwhelming at first. And we get that.
Mhm.
We're educators, that's our background, and we want to meet people where they are. And that was us. We were newbies early on, and but our seminar it actually introduces people to the key terms enough so they can really get their head around how does an off-grid system like an
Mhm.
RV work. And then we're actually going to walk people through our free downloadable worksheet that will actually take them step by step
Yeah.
through the building to decide what that is that they want to run, making those decisions, and then making decisions about what components they will need to
Mhm.
run those appliances and how it all works. And then along with that, we've got so many resources. So we've got
Yes.
articles and videos about each component in the solar kit, and like where to get more resources and how to reach out to us because we love to answer questions. People I think are often, a little like, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to ask the question. We love getting questions because we really want to help
Oh, absolutely.
remove those barriers to going off grid and going solar. That's why we do this.
Yeah, one of our favorite things is when an audience member writes to us and says, I saw you guys speak at such and such show, and I have a question. Is that okay? And we're like, absolutely, please,
Right.
please, please. We'd love to help. So, yeah,
So reach
it's
out to
it's
questions.
part of the joy.
Maybe some RVers are probably concerned about the cost of solar for a rig. Is it
Sure.
expensive?
It depends on how you build it, but when you're thinking about buying an RV and the amount of costs that go into that, this is truly a fraction of the cost. Most RVers might spend anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000. I think our system is just over three at its current prices, and so it's really not that expensive. And when you think about the amount of money you'll save, and pretty immediately you think, oh, 3 to 6 thousand is absolutely nothing because a traditional RV site costs anywhere between $50 and $125 a night. And that adds up really, really quickly. But if you camp in the national forest or on BLM land, in those campgrounds, those would be about $20 a night. Or you can boondock for completely free. So you're going to save that money and get that money back that you've invested in no time whatsoever.
Mhm.
And that system's going to last you 15, 20, 25 years, depending on how you choose to use it.
That's right.
So, and the size of the system just depends on how, like Hutch alluded to, how much you want to be able to run in your camper, the size of your camper, just basically your lifestyle, where you live, where you travel, things like that. But it's a pretty small amount of money, for what you get out of
And
it.
solar is scalable. So,
Yeah.
if you only need, to run a few things, you can get a very inexpensive, very small system, and you'll still see those savings in the campsites. But
Mhm.
if you want to live like full run everything, washer and dryer, that's going to require a much bigger system.
Oh, that, yeah.
It's all possible, but it just requires a little bit more investment up front.
Sure, exactly. We're running on solar right now, by the way. It's raining outside, but we have plenty of charge
That's right.
batteries, and we're able to run our Starlink and talk to you from Newfoundland.
So, what do you hope attendees will take away from your seminar?
Yeah, we want to inspire people. We want people to see, where they can go with solar. We want them to imagine where they can go with solar, and we want them to know that, yes, I can do this. If they walk away thinking, wow, they really made it accessible for me. I can do this. Even if I'm going to hire somebody to do the installation and I'm never going to crimp a wire myself, I might still be able to have enough knowledge to say, this is what I want to run. These are the components I want to use. And I know that I've built the right size system for me, how I am going to use my system. Because I think installers sometimes, they're building packages. They're going to say, hey, here's our package. This is what you need. And if a person has done the homework, they're going to say, hey, well, actually, I don't need that much. I just need this much. And they'll have the confidence to do that. So we want to give them the confidence to do it for themselves, but also to know what they're doing if they're going to hire out.
Yeah, we want to empower them, pun intended, completely.
Right.
I know.
Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to this seminar, and it's from 2:30 to 3:30, Wednesday through Saturday, and then on
Hmm.
Sunday 1 to 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's in the Champions Club at the Giant Center. So look for Shari and Hutch. And their second seminar is Working and Volunteering from the Road. It's from 4 to 5 p.m. in the Champions Club on Wednesday through Saturday, and then Sunday again from 2:30 to 3:30. And tell us a little bit about your Working and Volunteering from the Road seminar.
Yeah, so a lot of people, want to figure out, how can I make this road life dream happen? How can I change my situation? Maybe they want to not work full time anymore. Maybe they want to take their job on the road.
Maybe they're retiring.
That's right. And they still want to give.
Here, do something meaningful.
Exactly.
Do work trade and keep the costs down. And it's all possible. That's
Right.
the cool stuff.
And so we're going to share a little bit about our journey. When we started off, we had enough savings for about a year to a year and a half.
Living frugally.
Very frugally.
Yeah.
And we stretched that by volunteering, by going to farms. We're primarily in farms for the first couple of years, spending times in those communities, working, and it was great because we saved so much money because all of our needs were sort of, our camping needs, a lot of our food was covered because we were giving back. It really stretched that budget. So we'll dive deep into that seminar about how we did that and how volunteerism can be a money-saving strategy and also get you connected to a community and a place and understand that much better.
Tell us about some of the jobs you've taken on the road.
That's a great question.
That's been a lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different options, given that we've done this for 13 years. So we have worked in campgrounds, we have worked in environmental education centers, we have worked at wineries. I've been a naturalist on a tour boat in the Gulf of Maine. We've done online proofreading for a friend's business for a while. We've done handyman work, putting up ads on Craigslist and get some great opportunities to help people with small jobs. We have skills with that. I even worked, ironically, at the mortgage center in a bank one winter. And I think Hutch was tending bar at the time. And that was a short-term, couple-month job. But now, for the last 4.5 years, we've actually run our own mobile business. And I think that has been amazing to be able to transition to that. We do speaking at RV shows and online seminars. We do writing and we do video production work. And we can do that all from our own camper, wherever we might want to be. So.
Right. And is that your favorite now, what you've landed doing, or?
Well, I mean, I will have to say there was one summer that I was doing, occasionally I got to do these sailing trips, and that was, I have to say that was the most fun. Like, like grabbing some customers and jumping in a sailboat and going, spending the afternoon, on the water.
Teaching them how to sail.
I have to say that was pretty sweet, but it didn't, that was only moments amongst another whole series of jobs that we'll describe, at that place.
Yeah,
So
and my favorite job at that place, honestly, was being the naturalist tour guide on the boat. I had a floating classroom, and I was out there doing 3 to 4 tours a day. And that was fantastic. In the Gulf of Maine, I mean, it's spectacular. So
yeah,
really fun and teaching people about the environment. We have a background in environmental education, so we were able to do that type of work and just loved it. Yeah. But
I would say I think the most meaningful part of our work now is really coming to these RV shows, and Hershey is,
yeah.
has such a great crowd and such a great, energy, and we just love coming to the show because the audience has so many questions, they're so passionate,
Mhm.
and it's very, very rewarding to share our stories and our insights and our journey, with folks who are also curious about this lifestyle.
But
So,
there's so much work out there, Elizabeth. It's just mind-boggling. And we're going to help people figure out what those resources are, how to find these jobs. And there's such a wide range. And it can be from a couple weeks to a couple months to if you want to be somewhere for a full year. It just depends. And we also help folks think about how to start up their own business too. They want to do that.
That's great. Well, we're looking forward to these two seminars that you're going to present daily at the show. Tell people where they can find you online.
Sure. We have a website. It is freedominacan.com. And then also we are on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram. And if you just type in Freedom in a Can into any one of those search engines, or even on Google, it will bring us up. So that's where we are. We've got a monthly newsletter we put out. What all do we do? We write for a variety of RV related publications. But most of it, the central point is from our website or our social media.
sure.
That's great. And if you want tickets to the show, visit largestrvshow.com. We're September 10th through the 14th in Hershey. Thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to your seminars.
It's been a
Yeah,
treat. Thank you so much.
it's fun to see y'all. Always fun. We love the audiences there. They're just great.
Thank you.